Hey, now that's how you come in the room. That's how you intro into the room. What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. We're over here with this fifth episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. It's season 11, and they call this episode Kissing Cousins. That's nasty. I don't know why these cousins, they ain't really kissing and they ain't really cousins, but they was down here doing some things. Well, not they, just Trisha. We'll get into it, y'all. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to be great. I want to take y'all along with me. And so share it with a friend. Get over here. We talk about a lot of things. And today we're gonna get into Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I haven't been here for a couple of weeks. Not for any reason except for I really wasn't like the whole visit to Detroit and Pontiac. It really wasn't a whole lot for me. I don't really have a whole lot of opinion about it. So I didn't come over here to try to make things up. I figure I could double up. And then last week, well, I just got caught up. I got caught up in my own life and wasn't over here worrying about what they got going on. But we here now. We're going to get into, what had happened. I will say, as far as the Detroit visit, it was definitely nice to see Destiny's real story. And when I say real story, like that's a big thing, like her meeting her siblings and everything, that's a big thing. Them being a part of the show, if they want to do it, I think it's cool. I think it's an interesting story. Unfortunately, her mama is trash. And at first I was going, well, I wasn't sure. You know how people bring their drug addicted family members over to a reality show in a way that's exploitative. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I don't feel like that's what this is. I feel like Destiny's mama had all these babies. She has, I don't know, I don't know if it's drugs. She has some type of detachment. I mean, obviously the drugs are an issue, but I don't know if it's more than that because I don't know that lady. What I do know is I don't have no sympathy for ancient parents who are over here not raising their children. So for this lady to be popping out all these babies and passing them around, and for the way that she talked to Destiny as if Destiny owes her something, I don't feel no ways about that lady. As far as Papa Scott or whatever it was so annoying. Kimmy calling him Daddy Scott or whatever she was saying. Kimmy, ain't you almost the same age as his daddy? Maybe not that old, but I'm just saying. This man had 8 children and he was working all the time, so he was never at home. So his wife was there to raise all them children by herself. And then he got incarcerated, so he was still not there around those children. They said they didn't know him. So I'm not feeling no type of way about their daddy either. I feel like he's far too many people. There are far too many people like him, too many men like him that feel like they could pop a baby in somebody and then go somewhere and never be around for the raising of the child. So I don't have no type of sympathy for Marcel's daddy. One thing that stood out to me, Marcel was talking about how hard it is for his mother to raise those children. And then he followed up with, my wife has 3 children. And I was like, see what I'm talking about? He's talking about his wife has children. That was such a weird way, for him to say that to me. So, yeah, to hell with Marcel and his daddy. Sorry. Anyway, over here, what was happening this week? Oh, one more thing. This last week, Ken palling around with Martell and speaking the way he is speaking about Trisha is disgusting. He is a gross, nasty, big, muscle-bound, ashy ass. He ain't ashy because he be having his muscles all glistened up and things. But yeah, I think Ken is not a good guy, but I've never thought he was a good guy. I always have felt like this was a facade and the facade is over. Like if you're in a relationship with someone, a real man, Ken would not be in the streets discussing her the way he is. You can feel however you feel, but he's speaking in such a negative way about her when she hasn't actually done anything that we know about, And so all we know is about what he's doing down in the DMs. And so he's upset because Tisha told this girl Trisha that the people said he was out in the streets in the DMs. So he went over to have this discussion with Marceau to tell Marceau to keep Tisha out of his business, but the nigga was in the DMs. So I can't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him. I don't know. I really think a lot of times Tisha has not good intentions, and I really don't feel like this was one of those times. I really feel like Tisha be living in a very dingy space sometimes, and I really don't think that she was being malicious when she said what she said. Um, so we'll get into it. Trisha is over there at Tisha's house. This was last week, I believe. She was over there at Tisha's house, and they were just chatting it up or what have you. Or maybe this was a couple weeks ago, whenever it happened. Anyway, she told Tisha that this man over here, Ken, he's being possessive and weird and calling her up, wanting her to, show him, FaceTime him. He hears people in the background. We talked about this. This is this toxic manipulation that, cheating ass niggas do. So yeah, they want to act like, accuse you of doing the things that they're doing and make you afraid, because she moves in a way, and I'm not saying she needs to be afraid of Kim, but she definitely moves in a way that's always very shaky, that makes us all uncomfortable. And I'm starting to think that's just her natural way of being. If I don't think it's the nerve so much as it is Trisha is just kind of, her communication is wild. Anyway, yeah. Cheating ass niggas, do things like FaceTime me. They make you feel, then you feel like everything you're doing is going to trigger him. So he's out of town and trying to make her feel some type of way. So she's telling Tisha this, and Tisha's like, he shouldn't do that to you because, truth be told, the streets is out here saying he be in women's DMs. So would I have said that? I don't think so. Like in real life, I don't think I would have said that. But I mean, I don't feel like Tisha was being malicious in that moment either. So fast forward to this week, and Ken goes over to Black to have a sit down with Marceau, and Marceau's giving his Marceau advice. And it was good advice, to be honest. Like, y'all doing the most, basically. Are you out? You stay at the house? You don't stay at the house? Like, y'all are over here playing games. This is almost the same nonsense that, Marquez came over to talk to Marceau about. And Ken has this weird way of wanting to, go get advice, or no, he wants to go tell his story because he does the same thing down to the Wicked Gentleman's barbershop. And I feel like the only time Will makes any sense is under the roof of that building. Like, for whatever reason, he's telling Ken down to the barbershop, him and Martell hanging over there. If you're down in the girls' DMs, like, it means you're trying to start something, bro. It's not, you just wasn't happen to have some DMs with somebody, but Ken is over here trying to make it, it's just innocent. I wasn't trying to hit on anybody. Them DMs is going to be the end of y'all. Anyway, while Marceau is giving Ken his very Marceau advice, hey, Shayna, while y'all check out my girl, Shayna. She reviews Love and Marriage Huntsville as well, along with Bell Collective. And she does Sisters and some of the things that I don't do. So, yeah, get on around in this own network and other places and support my girl, Shayna_MCD. These clowns over here. Ken doesn't like to get advice. Like, he likes to say what's on his mind, and like then he wants you to agree, but nobody ever agrees with him. Even Martell was telling him, like, down in the DMs is not a good place to be if you're not looking for trouble. But I'm Ken, and so I don't get into trouble because that's not. I'm so unbothered by everything. I don't care if these hot girls are in here trying to holler at me. Doesn't matter, because that's not what I'm over here for. Anyway. He told Marceau that Tisha was telling Trisha, boy, here's time to go. It's time to go with stumbling over these daggum names. Tisha, Trisha, Marcel, Marcy, Maurice, Martell. It's like, Dr. Seuss over here. Anyway, Ken tells Marceau that Tisha, whoo, got them all out. I sound like Timbre now, down to the Bell Collective. The Tisha was, telling his girl like about him being down in the DMs. Yes, I felt so conflicted, Shayna. I was like, wow, like he's right. It's Martell. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that, but he's absolutely right. And it never makes me feel good to be on the same side as Martell. I hate this. I hate this. Like, I would want some nigga to go tell my man on me as if, what is he supposed to do? Get me under control? Ain't gonna happen. I say what I want to say. Who do I want to say it to? So now you're telling on Tisha because you were in the DMs, you clown. She's not causing problems in your relationship. You are. And you're so raggedy with it that the streets know about it. And I've been hearing it for a long time. And I don't know anybody in Huntsville. So explain that. I mean, I guess, we'll get into it a little bit later, but I'm sure there's a reason because he don't really be swatting nobody out of, it's really creepy to me how you ladies are out here sweating this man as if he's a prize. Because he's not. He's the type of man that moves in your house, befriends your children as if he's like the greatest thing that ever happened. And I feel like that's a manipulation too. I feel like as a mom, if you have some man come into your life and treat your children well, it's a manipulation tactic when it's coming from somebody like Ken. And it's hard not to fall for that because, if their daddy ain't shit, you want them to have a male role model. This ain't it. Ken is not the role model. And your son, I forget his name with his cute self, he sees right through it. He's already told you, like, look, if you're happy, it's fine. But the little girl, has probably been wooed by him. And I think that's why there's so much focus on her between these two men. I'm getting off tangent, but that's what we're here to do, talk about it. I feel like that might be the tension between these two guys and why they focus on this little girl so much. Because, she's a little bit older now, but she was young enough to be seeing hearts in her eyes because this guy came along and did all these cool things and taking her to her meets and, being the person that her father, and I mean, Marquez, that's on you. I'm not saying I feel any type of sorry for you. I'm just saying the little girl was easier to manipulate, and that goes away when they get older. So I hope they don't think that's going to be the case forever, because usually when they get older, they start seeing through the bullshit, especially if their mother is honest. So you mothers, us mothers, we need to stop lying. My kids are grown and they never fell for the bullshit. But I feel like as mothers, when you're introducing someone into your kid's life, you have to be honest with them. And if the nigga ain't acting right, you have to say that too. Walking around making this man into a hero. He ain't even their real father. Anyway, he wants Marcel to get Katisha under control, because I guess that's how things work over at her house. Her man come in the house and tell her what to do. So this is what they signed up for. Kimmy was saying these Scott brothers are something else. So Marcel goes to the house and, he's doing whatever he's pretending to do in front of that computer. And he calls Tisha down. Tisha, come down here. She's in trouble. So he lets her know, like, we need to discuss the situation about you talking to Ken and Trisha. Talking to Trisha about Ken in the DMs and what you heard in the streets. And he's pretty much like, listen, we are a couple who have had plenty of drama when it comes to the social media situation. They love to blame everything on social media. Like we came over there looking for their business that ended up on the internet. But anyway, he said we've had our own issues with this social media thing, and we can't be out here, spreading rumors and gossip. And she's just like, I didn't spread any gossip. I just told her that the people said that Ken be in DMs, so he should not be accusing her of anything. Marcel's like, that's not good. But that's not good because we can't be part of the spreading of the gossip, Tisha, and that's spreading gossip. It is. I feel like I said, Tisha was kind of dingy, and I'm not a Tisha fan. So for me to be like speaking on her behalf, just a teensy bit. I don't feel like she was necessarily, I think she thought she was looking out for her girl. And, when you're holding something for a long time, however long she's been holding it, she saw it, a window. She saw an opportunity to go ahead and share that. And Trisha needed to know. At the end of the day, she needed to know. She probably heard, but I think it's something that she had to hear. And if we're friends, you know what I'm saying? I would prefer it be somebody like a closer friend than Tisha, because that's when it gets to be a slippery slope. Like, I don't know if I know you like that for you to be in my business, but it's a TV show. So I'm not mad at Tisha for putting it out there. Social media is just sitting there minding its own business, and here these people from Huntsville come throwing it on out there and then being mad at us for saying something. They don't know how to act on social media. Most people don't know how to act on social media, especially on these reality shows where they either want to get back at somebody or defend their silliness and stuff. So anyway, y'all keep putting it out there, so we're gonna keep talking about it. And it's crazy because I think it's just a sign of the times. I don't think it's just them anymore, because I feel like on every show, Potomac, Real Housewives of Atlanta came back. Shayna, are you reviewing? I'm sure you are. I'll probably get to it tomorrow. I don't think there's a whole lot, and I'm probably not going to go live on this episode because it wasn't a whole lot to tell. It's just the introduction and everything. But I feel like it's just a sign of the times now. All these people, Quad and King and everybody over here on the internet, on social media and the blogs and things, getting back at each other. And then when we come up with a conclusion, they want to, have an issue with us. Hey, Lotus Egyptian Flower. Do you watch? I did not know you were a Love and Marriage Huntsville person. We the good old faithfuls, aren't we? Still hanging in here fooling with these people. Anyway, I think, like I said, there's context to the conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and give Tisha a pass, even though I wouldn't have said it. But if she didn't say it, then would we be talking? Apparently, she was the one that was out here making a fool of herself. Ken, you was in them DMs. So, he's not even sorry about it. I think that's what irritates me. Like, his smug ass attitude is pissing me off. And him over here acting like he just got an apartment. He's a bold-faced lie. That was part of the court, situation with her and her ex, that the judge said Kim was not allowed to live under that roof. And we know that because Marquez be crashing out on the internet. Oh, thank you, love. She don't watch it. She just here to support. I love to hear that. Well, if it's entertaining some of the time. Most of the time it's not, but I try to be entertaining. Anyway, yeah, this nigga's in the DMs, and he was court ordered to get out of that house. So the way he's trying to spin it is irritating. And then that's another thing. Like, we all know, like, this, I'm not the keeper of this information. It's out there. Everybody's talking about it because Marquez went over to the internet and said he better not be at that house. And I think, Trisha, when you decide to get in a relationship with someone before you divorce, these are the kind of things that you run into, especially when y'all are over here on a TV show making this man crash out on a regular basis. So, now it's a fight. It's a different kind of fight. He's over here looking like this muscle man came over here and stole the wife that he didn't want and the family that he wasn't around. Child. The ladies meet up. I was glad to see Nell in this episode because I really could care less about Kimmy and Tisha and their bullshit. So they meet up at Nell's house, and Destiny lets them know about what happened when she went to Detroit. I can see why Destiny and Nell, I can see that being honestly a cool relationship in real life. If we're going to go on with this show and have actual, relationships, it's also a numbers game. And so who are you going to align yourself with in order to be around here? The Scotts, not a good go, not anymore, because the Scotts have alienated Martell. And Martell is still friends with the Fletchers. The Fletchers got a whole family over there that have been introduced to the show. So it makes sense for Destiny to choose this side and not that one, because the Scotts got each other and nobody really wants to be over there. And, Wanda and all of that. I don't miss Miss Wanda. I only want to see Miss Wanda like doing red carpet things or, blogging things. That's when she's funny. But to have to engage with her in real life, now it would be funny maybe to see Wanda and her grandkids, because them Marcel's kids is some sassy kids. I don't mean sassy in a bad way. Y'all may be using words and then sassy turns into something terrible and it never used to be. Anyway, yeah, she shares that she met her siblings and then they bring up the DMs. So Destiny said Martell, who is only filming, they only showing little cuts of Martell because he's not engaging with anyone. So they're like, we don't need to have another, meeting with Destiny and Martell. We'll just show the clip. You said you did miss Miss Wanda till she came back. Well, I mean, I thought she was fun on the red carpet, though. That's what I'm saying. They just got to figure out like how to bring her back in. I would love to see her like with them kids, and then because the kids tell the truth, and then you'll get to see like they probably be like, oh dear Jesus, send her back home. Anyway, Martell tells Destiny about the DMs. About who told him? Marcel is not talking to Martell. And so Martell told Destiny that, hey, Sid, I know she don't watch Huntsville. Let me try to map it out in my head. So Martell tells Destiny about Tisha telling, maybe Ken was the one that brought it up. That's where it was. I'm like, where did he get it from? Anyway, he told Destiny about Tisha spilling the beans about him being in the DMs, and he's acting as if he wasn't there, but he was there. So, are you mad because your beans got spilled, or I'm unclear of what's going on there. So they're like, isn't she being messy? Destiny, your messy ass started this whole rivalry between Tisha and him. Well, not started it, but you definitely ignited it. Now you over here like, isn't that messy? It's a little messy. But Trisha, in her defense, said she didn't really know what was going on at the time. We weren't really together. Don't you love it how women come back and say they weren't together or we were on a break, so that it makes the cheating seem like something different than what it was? Isn't it interesting how when people are on breaks, the nigga is always the one out here wilding out while the woman is at home somewhere? Sometimes. I don't know what Trish be doing. I cannot speak on her behalf. I'll be trying, because, there's things I see and I feel for her based on some of the things she's been through. But child, this Trisha is hard to defend. But anyway, she said they're back together now, and Ariane's still with Martell. Child, Martell then got this house. This is what I think. I'm a sidebar and catch you up. So Martell got this house that I feel like that Chris Fletcher helped him get. This is allegedly, this is just my, theory. This is, nobody said this is real. So we cannot spread this rumor, but I'm going to go ahead and speculate what I think happened. Martell wouldn't get out of that house that Chris Fletcher was trying to sell. And so he maybe took the money to help Martell get in this other house. You know what I'm saying? And then the people got mad because it was taking him too long to get this dude out of the house. So they asked for their money back. And then, it was a lot of flim-flamming going on. And now Chris Fletcher's license has been revoked. He said for trying to help a friend, which I think the friend is Martell. That's just my theory. However, he has Ariane living in this house, so he don't have to pay, all these extra bills. So they living together. That's his woman. That's her man, her man, her man. And, he says her name a lot. Like, he hasn't, like, lately, but when he first, came back, when the season first started, he was wearing T-shirts with her face on it, and Ariane, his fiance. So, yeah, we ain't talking about her right now. We talk about Trisha and her boyfriend Ken, and the foolishness. Funny thing is, these two met making emojis and things under and being in each other's DMs. Like this is what the basis of their relationship is and how it started. So for Ken to act like I would never do that, you would, and that's why she feels insecure because that's how she met you. I don't know about them DMing. I don't know about that. I have never had nobody slide into my DMs that we slid into anything else. Mostly, I ignore strangers because I think it's weird to be DMing people that you don't know. So yeah, I can't relate. But these two slid out the DMs over to the gym while she was still married. Oh, you got some tea, girl? Let me see. I heard Martell wasn't allowed to live with anyone until he gets mad per him and Mel. Oh, till he gets engaged. Um, Maybe that's why he's calling her his fiance. Maybe that's why he keeps on calling Ariane his fiance because they're not supposed to, them kids is big. They posted a picture of the little boy's birthday. These kids are teenagers now. I guess, they still got them little ones, but oh, it would drive me nuts if my kids had to go over Ariane's house. Talk about stress. I'm glad. Thank goodness. Shout out to the deadbeat dads who know how to get the hell out of people's way while they're trying to live their life. Don't let me bring my personal stuff into the story. Mary, yeah, I think that maybe it might be engaged, and that might be why he keeps calling her fiance to get past the whole court thing. I think that's weird though. I realize that's a court thing, or maybe staying in the house, but I would not want to like marry somebody that didn't know my kids. Well, we got never gonna know what Melody got going on anyway. She over there down to TikTok selling her products and selling her restoration classes. I wonder how that's working now. Like, you know what I'm talking about in terms of corporations having such a chokehold on the building industry. Let's don't get off track because I will chase a damn butterfly. Anyway, Trish be all over the place when she's trying to explain things, and I feel like I need a dictionary and a calculator to understand her. But Miss Nell said to Trisha, "You was over here in Lance's making posts on his pictures." She also said that this man wants her to have a baby, and they had a conversation about how she should not be trying to have a baby with this man. This scene was very chopped up, and you can't chop up a scene and have Trisha in it and expect us to understand what's going on. So yeah, he wants her to have a baby, and Miss Nell said, "Are y'all like getting married?" And she's still married. At least at this point, she's still married. So we don't know, like. I don't really like to take the time out of my life to be looking up people's divorce papers and things. So as we speak right now in this moment, she is not divorced. Whew. They asked her, was she going to marry Ken? She took forever to answer. So no, Destiny say they break up every 3 days. So if she's going to get pregnant, she got a 3-day window. I think that's the worst idea ever. I also don't think that Ken really wants no kids with her. I think Ken wants to be outside because that seems like that's what he's doing. Now she said she talked to Lance all the time. When did that happen? Now her and Destiny are going back and forth about who knows most of the business, and I believe her because I think Lance is just out here, thinking he cute talking to everybody. What I don't like is Lance trying to make it seem like whatever Trisha is doing is one-sided. I don't think that's the case either. You say you don't think Ken can have kids? Well, I got some other tea, and it's all coming from Kim, but we'll get to that. We're going to get to that. Yeah, they've been talking to Destiny and Trisha. Destiny says it's for therapy reasons. So this nigga, and all of them are doing this is pissing me off. Like, so Lance gets on the phone with Destiny to tell about what's going on in his current relationship. And then this girl comes around and these girls know all her business and how the man feels about her for real. Talk about messy. Y'all saying Tisha's messy. This right here is messy. Lance is messy. Nell invites them to Lance's birthday. He's having a birthday party, and it's a Lucky themed birthday party. I want you to explain to me how they got mob wives, mob life out of Lucky. I must be missing something. Child, Miss Nell and her daughter meet up with Lance at the venue. And when I tell you, I cannot believe that Nell is financing this grown ass man's birthday party. That is ridiculous. She says she's not hosting any more of his parties. And I'm like, you, but after the 21st birthday, mom, I'm not hosting any parties for my kids. Are you kidding me? You said you surprised the show is still going on after Mel left. Me too, because it was kind of dying anyway. You know, they're trying to figure something else. I think we're just, what do they call it? I think we just have Stockholm syndrome, Lotus Egyptian flower. I think we feel like we've been here so long, we're stuck here to keep listening to these people and their foolishness. God bless y'all that got out. It got out good. And appreciate y'all for coming over to listen to us talk about it. Because, girl, anyway, Miss Nell is paying for this man's birthday party. I can't believe that. That's what I said, Shayna. The show started falling off when she was there because we got tired of her and Martell and all of that stuff that was going on. So I'm looking forward to the new bells. Like the people, isn't that funny? Stormy came through here, was on y'all's show for a minute, and they gave her own show. And y'all are over here twisted in the wind, trying to figure something out, holding on to Martell and watching him say Ariane for no good damn reason, because we don't want any of that really. Nell says she's not hosting any more of these parties. And I'm like, girl, you about 10, 15 years too long hosting this man's parties. And his face is all busted up. So what is his face busted up for? Because he said he was taking care of everybody. You were taking care of who? Because Kayla and Miss Nell said they be having your kids all the damn time. You were taking care of everybody. He forgot to eat. He was horse playing with his friends, and he fell on his face, and he was not inebriated. That's what he said. So you went somewhere drinking on an empty stomach, and you fell on your face? This is a grown man. This is a grown man sitting up here with a busted face, waiting on his mama to pay the venue for his birthday party. And he's juggling women. Y'all standards need to change. Miss Nell came in there hot like that. It's a hot girl summer, and Miss Nell is the hottie in the room. Did you see her little hot the top of her jeans? She was going down to the club. I cannot Miss Nell. She's so cute. Anyway, I don't know how the man busted his face, but it's just, Lance is just so immature. Like you ever had a shot with Destiny, really. Nell tells Lance that he's partying too much. He is. He's partying so much that he has busted his face. Now he was at work. Now he was in an accident. Now he fell down. He fell and busted his face, horsing around. What were they doing? Jeez, oh Pete. Wrestling? Were you wrestling with your friends down to the bar and got hit in the face with a bar stool or a table? Here we are at the bar with your mama. She's still paying for stuff. And is she going to go home and crash out and talk about how she's tired of all these kids asking her for things? Nell, I'm going to put you over in the basket with Dr. Simone. You and Dr. Simone need to have a good talking to with the lady. Good grief. She said he need to stay home and take care of his kids. If I was her and Kayla, both of y'all need to stop enabling him. And so when he needs a babysitter, you still need to start saying, no, I'm not babysitting tonight. So, you know what I'm saying? So do these kids be with their mamas? I would love to know, like, I need to know the breakdown. How many kids does he have? We know he had a baby that, you know, Miss Nell is taking care of, apparently. I don't know what's going on with the mother, but I did hear, you know, there may have been some issues. So I don't know what's up with that. But, and she said he need to stop bringing him all them kids around these girls. And I think that's what he does. He's this kind of guy. He smooshes up on the girl, and all their dates are, hanging out with the kids. Y'all's going to have to keep y'all's kids out of your dating life. Jeez, oh Pete. Everybody need to go down to the courthouse. If this man is not a substantial part of your life and you see yourself being in a long-term relationship with him, then keep that shit separate. And y'all got little kids, and she wouldn't have said it if it wasn't a thing. She said for him to don't be bringing them kids around all these women. And he's got some women. Lance does. They over here trying to be his plus one on this show probably. Now he said he's so confused by this post that he feels like it's inappropriate that Trish put under his picture. And it was hard eyes, hard eyes, hard eyes, licky tongue. And he said he told Ken because he felt like Ken was going to come smush your ass down like a bug. You did not know that whatever conversation that you was having with Trisha in private was getting ready to get down to the internet. And once Trisha found out that this man Ken was over here, down in the DMs with someone, she commented on your picture. Now you're in the middle of this mess. You weren't telling Ken when you were having therapy conversations with Trisha. She didn't make that up. You've been talking to her. You told her about the party. You invited her to the party because Nell says she already been invited. And he was like, well, she got the same invitation everybody else got. Okay, child. Then why is your mama inviting people if you send out a mass text? You should. Well, how did she make the list? Ugh. Let me see. You said he probably smacking girls with his children around. Oh, he's looking for babysitters. You know how girls like to do that. Be like, oh, the kids can come spend the night over here. Meanwhile, now you're babysitting 2 other kids that ain't yours. And he out in the streets getting drunk and getting his face smashed in with, we don't know what happened. But we know he said he wasn't inebriated. Anyway, let's get to this party. Destiny arrived to the birthday party. Why does Scott's come to that party with sunglasses on? Walking around, Marceau, Tisha, only one didn't have on sunglasses was Maurice. And maybe his eyes are bad, so he didn't want to do it. That's a pet peeve of mine. I cannot stand sunglasses at night. Now you're walking around at night with your sunglasses on and you're going inside the club with your sunglasses on. Y'all are 50. For God's sakes. That looks so stupid to me. And then the Bobbsey twins, Scott wife 1 and Scott wife 2 were both dressed, did they call each other up and say, let's wear animal print? Now y'all are dressing alike? Y'all are walking around the club with sunglasses on and you're dressing alike. Go, Kimmy. Tisha's your new best friend. Lance showed up looking like a leprechaun. That's all I seen when I seen him. He looked like he came off the box of Lucky Charms. Anyway, he brings this girl, that he had brought over to the dinner, the family dinner. And she takes this opportunity, I don't know, to tell his mama on him for not being her boyfriend. Nell said, you have to be very confident to wear that because she had on this white blouse and this, corseted, thing with her booty cheeks out. She looked like Vucci Gucci, yeah. That's what she looked like. Anyway, she said, but talk to your son. He didn't want to have me dressing like this. He's not your man. He told you you're going to wear your ass cheeks out to his birthday party. Child. Nobody wants to be confronted at their birthday party about a relationship. Miss Nail is all in the mix, instigating. I don't know why she's this far up, in his business. It's a little embarrassing, but I'm gonna go ahead and give her the benefit of the doubt, even though I think she's far too involved. I think she's way too involved, but I get it. She's like, what are you doing? You got all these babies. You need to pick a woman and sit your ass down somewhere. I don't care if it's this girl or whatever girl, but this girl seems to think that she's the girl. Girl, you're not the girl. And I don't think that Miss Down gives a shit like that. She just wants there to be a girl to take care of these kids. That's not her. And she's tired of her son being out in these streets. So apparently they're supposed to have date night and he was out in the club, and Lance stood on business. If you ask me, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't owe you anything about where I am when we're not together. um Apparently, he was out in these streets and she outside too, so they're still dating other people. Whatever their exclusive situation was, it's not that. He said, we're, going on dates and things. So what are you talking about? I'm not putting in any effort. And she said the dates be with the kids all the time. And I'm like, that's what he's doing. I had that conversation before with my girl's dad. I was like, I'm like, going to Chuck E. Cheese, that ain't no date. Like, I feel like, although I'm not like this girl, I wasn't like vying for girlfriend position. I was already, the baby mama. So yeah, I was like, I don't want, like, we need to go on a date together, not just with the kids. So, and I ain't never been somewhere with somebody else's kids. Have not ever been like babysitting, my man's kids. That's not a position I've ever found myself in. So, and if I was, I wouldn't want to like be out here like his babysitter. It's one thing to have a sleepover. I'm not your babysitter. If you have, it's your weekend with your kids, and I guess you need to stay your ass at home. You know what I'm saying? We had come through, maybe let the kids play, and then I'm going to hell back to my house. But she over here thinking Miss Nell is gonna help help Lance, decide on her as a girlfriend, and he said it's not happening. Um, Miss Nell's like, listen, I don't care what you're doing. You got a situation over here, and whatever you're doing, just don't bring no more of these bitches to my house. And I get that. I'm lucky. My son is not a player, so he never brought girls around that were just girls he was, hanging out with or trying to figure out. And my daughter either, for that matter. Like, I don't meet people that aren't considered important. They don't do it, and I didn't do it either. Like, I wasn't just bringing random people to meet my mother. That's a big deal. I feel like, at least the next step. Like, I don't want to meet no new girls, so don't bring nobody else to the family dinners. Sorry, girl, you're out. He said it's a no. And he was out for Valentine's Day taking, sexy pictures with some different girl who he probably, she was probably there that day his face got busted in. That's probably how he got home. Tisha feels like she needs to apologize to Trisha and Ken for being the carrier of the bones, the bringer of the bad news, the teller of the what do you call it? DM business. I think that's, here it is. I don't know that this was necessary. She said she wasn't trying to be messy. And Marceau said they be posting thirst traps. He was like, y'all, like, in the midst of not really being in a great space, you over here down in people's DMs and things. So, and y'all be thirst trapping. And Tisha said, and Trish be in the comments. Why are they over here acting like they didn't already know about it? The streets already knew about her being in them comments. They did not remove the picture. It's still there. Heart eyes, heart eyes, heart eyes, licky tongue. And the whole Lance is her cousin thing is creepy to me. I have people that are cousins that ain't blood cousins, but close enough that we would never be a thing. So I was like, let me see if they be thirst trapping. Instagram, it's a fun little, place of discovery. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna look at her Instagram. Is she thirst trapping? She posted a picture. Look how big her daughter is getting. She looked like her daddy for real. She got braces now. What a cutie patootie. See, she getting past that little girl era, and she watched the show. So she out here seeing what her daddy is, saying. I mean, not what her daddy, what Ken and her father are saying about her mother. She sees it. Trisha posts a lot of gym things. So is she thirst trapping? I wouldn't call it that necessarily. I see her, promoting what it is she says she wants to do. Let's see. They be posting little messages. What does this one say? When you know who you are and stand on your divinity, you stop letting other people tell you who you are. Insults, projection, and false narratives no longer trigger your insecurities when you walk around with divine confidence. This is how her and Ken communicate with each other. Whoop! But I feel like, minus the little, she doesn't really do that. That's the only one. I feel like that was a direct shot. This one says, stay in grind mode. It's okay to step out of your comfort zone. Real growth happens there. A fish in a tank has a whole different experience than a fish in an ocean. Don't limit yourself. She got food prep things over here. Looks to me like Miss Trisha is over here promoting, her business. Um, in all kinds of emotions, sad. Oh, she said, in all kinds of emotions, sad, tired, stressed, motivated. Turns out I just needed some D. Vitamin D, that is. Here she go with licky tongue things. No filter, not special features, just the sunlight. So I don't know if I would necessarily call any of that thirst trapping because it looks to me like she's promoting her fitness. You said if they grew up together as clowns, it would have been disturbing, but it seems like they didn't even know each other. Who are you talking about? You talking about Will or who you talking about didn't know each other? Um, okay, so now on to the other thirst trapper. That would be Ken. His Instagram is very different. Ken's Instagram looks like someone who's outside and it's very creepy. Let's see what Ken is over here doing. So he does this thing where he sits in the car. I won't play the music, but that's his vibe. It says, I just been cooling. No pressure from my baby. Who is your baby? But the comments, Ken, you been outside lately? The ladies is over here inquiring. They want to know. Oh, look at all the emojis. Fire, fire. Yeah, he gets a lot of attention from the ladies. Y'all, y'all like what you like. It is what it is. But this thing with him sitting in the car, um, she had a picture with her daughter. He has a picture with the daughter of that lady. And so now, he's brought this girl in. The girls are friends. He trying to make permanent connections with Trisha. What does he say? Her daddy paying you for her. What is that? Oh, it says her. Daddy, you paying for my food and drink in the bar tonight? And he says, ain't nothing in this world free, little baby. Who are you talking to? Because Trisha, I would assume you paying for her food and her drink. This is him and Will. Will is down to the Wicked Gentleman's barbershop, cutting this man's hair with no smock or, little barber, apron or anything. So, I'm very familiar with that barber life, and I don't know many of the barbers. None of the barbers I know want to go home with Ken's hair all over their clothes. Where was the other one? There was one with these two. Look at this. When your sugar mommies get mommies, not mama, when your sugar mommies get on that wine.
Oh, sugar baby, you fine as hell. I treat you well, I will. My little toy, you bring me joy for real. You want that man?
He's corny. When you thought messing with Meemaw was going to be sweet. This was in February. You was messing with Meemaw in February? This thing he does where he sits in his car and just, what is happening right now? Let's be real. A little toxicity makes it taste better. Ugh. This is what y'all want? Ooh-wee. So, okay, here it is. Shayna says something about he can't have kids. Where did this come from? Because I just was like, look at these niggas. But he says, so he has a little, something for y'all. It says, why are men in close friendships with one another often called gay? What? When did that happen? I did not know that. I mean, I didn't know that people was calling y'all gay, but okay. In my opinion, I truly believe it's because of social pressures, societal pressures. social conditioning, and outdated ideas of masculinity. Society has long perpetuated the idea that men can't show emotion, express love, or be physically affectionate with each other. This leads to people this leads people to mislabel men who defied norms as gay. I didn't know anything about the gay thing. So, yeah, it seems as though this nigga Ken is. I'll stop. Look at this one. And then we're done.
You think you the shit just 'cause you work out? You ain't buff. I wish I never met your sorry ass. You a sorry motherfucker. Yeah, that's right. Brush that weak ass face, punk. You think you the shit just 'cause you work out?
I guess, girl. So, when Marcel says their trust, who told him he was fine? I mean, the ladies are in his comments like, he's the best thing since sliced bread. So somebody like it, girl. And he out here acting like he outside. He's in the DMs and he's making posts like that. That's not the kind of post. I don't think you can compare the two. She's over here doing motivational things because she wants to be in the fitness world. And he's over here talking about, there was one over there that says something about and this is the cliff notes, but something about if you drop the ball with a good man, would you be mad if he married your best friend? And I was like, what? Oh my God. His thirst traps make him even less attractive. He really ain't all that fine. He's not. He looked like a gym meathead. He is a gym meathead, but girl, some women all they needs to see is muscles and couple muscles and get them, all revved up. But anyway, I don't know what's going on with them. I think they just need to call it quits because whatever they're doing over here is a hot mess. It's all online. I would not want to be with someone who was out there doing that. My man posts haircuts. That's all you're going to find on his page. But yeah, it's all this. What your woman, when you thought hooking up with Mima, does he think he's funny? I don't know. And then him like licking his lips and sitting in that one little ray of sunlight in his car. Child, what the hell is wrong with Ken? You said you looking at the green screen behind me? Behind me? Why are the Scots not sitting together? Let me see. Because I don't know what the green screen look like, child. I don't know. Are they not together? Kimmy is by Maurice. Oh, yeah. Tisha is all the way on the end. It means nothing. They're not going anywhere. It might be, I'm going to say, there's issue between Destiny and Tisha, so they might have put them next to each other because they have, issue with one another this season. That's all I can think of. So this irritated my soul too. Now these guys are all standing around. Why ain't go up there? Let me see. Here I am having technical difficulties. This is not the one I want. Okay. So these guys are all standing around discussing the DMs. Little Mr. Lucky Charm goes over to the table and says, hey guys, what if, a woman in this group, because he cannot wait to share with these guys, what if a woman in this group sent you an emoji and the emoji was heart eyes, heart eyes, heart eyes, licky tongue? So now they're sitting over there trying to figure out like, what was the licky tongue mean? What does that mean? So Ken walks up. Ken already knows because Lucky Charm over here already told him. He stood up there saying, yeah, I wasn't worried about it when I saw it because Lance is her cousin. And they're like her cousin, they're laughing about that. I just don't like, I'm like, Ken, this is your girl, and you're sitting around with all these guys like laughing at her. And I don't know why Martell is so appalled by Trisha. It just, for what? What are you so angry with her for? That she be lying. Trisha be lying. You are the last person to be saying that anybody is lying, Martell. But I just thought, I can't imagine. I would hope that the person that I love, that even though we're going through hard times, is not standing amongst a bunch of dudes laughing at me. And then he basically called her dumb. I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but Trisha just don't be thinking. What do you mean she doesn't think? Like, she does it. She did it to get back at you. I believe that. I think she did it when she was like, okay, all the ladies thinks Lance is cute. And I feel like, that's his, what do you call it? Kryptonite. I think light-skinned, wavy-haired niggas is his kryptonite because, Marquez is light-skinned with freckles. He doesn't have any hair, but, he's a particular prototype. So, Martell ain't shit. She won't go do that. These other men are married. And so Lance is the only one. Will is his friend. That's doing too much. She couldn't go there. So she went with Lance, who, like I said, I think is his kryptonite. And, Lance told her, which of course he did. He didn't want to get his head knocked off. You said Trisha needs to become for a good while something. You missed something somewhere. She needs to be single. I know that much, for a good while. She's been through so much. Somebody who has gone through so much that she's been through, she definitely needs to sit still somewhere and take a minute. What we say, Lotus Egyptian Flower, write her name at the top of her priority list. That's what she needs to do. Hopefully she's getting in this place, but Ken sitting around discussing her in this way with this man just really pissed me off because, like I said, when you're on outs with your partner, you're on outs with your partner. The streets don't have to know. Like, he's putting her out there. He's posting things that, clearly are, he out here trying to get the women, their attention, and he's getting it, because some women find that attractive. Douchebags, I mean. And yeah, so I agree. I think Trisha needs to chill and be by herself because this man doesn't have anything good in mind for her. She needs to be alone for a good while. That's what I figured you meant. Yeah, she does. I think, we've talked about it before. The whole bouncing from one relationship to another, you don't get yourself a chance to heal. I say everybody that's single should be living in the place of a cold heart. And you should not allow your heart to warm up for anyone until they show you, you know what I mean? They got to work on that icy heart. And when you come out of a relationship, you should be working in a place of a black heart. Black hearts are, unavailable. When they say emotionally unavailable, black hearts are emotionally unavailable. And I think Trisha, her even focusing on her gym life is probably so good and motivating for her. So yeah, kick that zero to the curb because he ain't about nothing. He is for the streets. And, somebody said he was gay. I'm like, why did you even write that? Nobody was over here calling you gay because you and your bestie are hoes. Y'all are hoes. And Trisha, I don't know. I ain't gonna call you a hoe necessarily, but both of y'all be acting like hoes out here doing all this the most on the internet. I can't, figure out or have any kind of explanation as to why she would go to Lance's DMs unless it was just for her to piss off this man. Yes, she needs her name at the top of her priority list. And then right under there should be her children who have been going through this with these people. What does it do to your kids when you and your man, you're fighting and he out one day and in one day and y'all are, always arguing with one another. And Ken leaves when he gets mad. So, I feel like niggas that leave when they get mad are going to where they wanted to be in the first damn place. Can't fool me with that nonsense. You just driving around trying to clear your head. Give me a break. So the ladies are sitting around talking to one another. They filling them in on Trisha being down to this boy's comment section with heart eye emojis and everything. And Nell had a moment Tisha said, Nell, like, I don't really know how to approach you in so many words because, of the nature of our relationship. And then Nell's like, yeah, our relationship is trash. We are having a messed up relationship. But she says she does know, like, they heard about what was going on with Chris and his license situation. And Nell says she hasn't shared because, she doesn't feel close to anybody except for Destiny. So Destiny is the only person that she's talked to. She said her and Trisha were supposed to talk, and that never happened. Well, now it seems like Trisha has had a lot on her plate. So there's that. And their outfits are horrible. Yes, and do you see the Scott sisters came dressed in leopard print together? Um, their outfits are usually horrible. This is their lucky themed party. So, like I said, Kimmy has the audacity to have on some leopard print boots to go with that leopard whatever she got on. Child, please. It was a hot mess. And the crazy thing is, like, they're all pretty women. So, good grief. Where's the stylist to be over here at Huntsville? They picked out that stuff for themselves. Anyway, Nell said, yeah, she doesn't feel close to any of them. And this is what position y'all put her in as an outsider. So, yeah, her and Destiny have talked. And when you talk about personal things, it's just like, Tambra, I don't trust you bitches. I'm not getting ready to come over here and give you my business. She's a caregiver for her father. She said she was the one that received that subpoena. So she opened her door and she was the one that they handed those papers to. You know what I'm saying? And not even her business. So that's how she found out. He wasn't even telling her what's going on. That's why she's so pissed at him. The people are like, Miss Nell, just, she can't stand by her man. No, I still say no, she cannot. She cannot stand by her man because he is over here. He didn't lose his job. He was doing stupid shit for probably Martell or whoever it was. Whatever he was doing put his license at risk, and now it's revoked. And he told me, I should be back on in 2 years. Shut up. And now she's a caregiver for her father. And I've been through that. And anybody who's been through that knows that it takes a toll on you. And now her son is over here, his big old age, horsing around, busting his face because he out partying too much and she got the kids. Not from one son, but two. You know how when men get it's their time to take the baby, they go drop the baby over to the mama's house. And then they go do whatever it is they was doing. And then be at the new lit chick's house talking about, I got my kids this weekend. No, you don't. Your mama got the kids. So she started talking about it. She became overwhelmed. She had to walk away because, her emotions are very raw right now. And so just speaking about it, and she walks around being her cute little self and laughing and smiling and stuff, but she going through a lot. And so in that moment, I feel like everybody, even the Scott sisters, had a real, empathy for whatever she got going on. Kimmy said, I'm not sure what being overwhelmed looks like, but I think that's it. And I'm like, you don't know what being overwhelmed looks like when you have a cancer scare and your husband is requiring you to, roll over and take it several times a day. I would hate to be in your position. She overwhelmed, but she ain't that kind of overwhelmed, girl. But if you like it, I love it. That's where that episode ends. Next week, Marceau is going to confront Chris Fletcher about not having a license. I have an opinion about it now, but I got to hear the whole story. But I feel like Chris Fletcher, if you're talking about doing business with someone and you don't reveal to them that your license is revoked, that's shady business. What else? Oh, Maurice confronts Marceau about, not having Kimmy's restaurant started. And I feel like Kimmy need to blame Maurice for that because she didn't want to use Marceau in the first place. So since you made me deal with your brother, you can get off your soft butt and get your soft hands some lumber and go get that business started, Maurice. Anyway, y'all, that's all I got. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's Monday. It's Monday, y'all. We gotta go back to work tomorrow. I'll see y'all in the morning. I'll be there for coffee talk at 10 a.m. 10:15. 10:15 has been working. You guys, I feel like that extra 15 minutes. So yeah, I'll be back in the morning, 10:15 with some coffee talk. In the meantime, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye, y'all.